I could talk about energy all day. It's one of my favorite topics because I really do believe when you master your energy management and can keep up leveling your energy and knowing how to do it, meaning like it's predictable, you know yourself so well, everything changes from your relationships to money to your health to just how you feel, hopefully even living longer, because I do believe energy is a big part of it, and so much more. Like, I really do believe energy is the domino effect to so many things. It's the gateway to so many things that you desire, and it is not talked about enough. Like, there are people out there all day, every day talking about like overall like marketing strategies or like relationship tips or, you know, do this, like more tactical, but none of it is going to fully work. None of it's going to be fully sustainable if you don't got the energy to be able to do the things. Every new level that you desire, whether it's personal or professional or both, requires more energy, more passion, more discipline, more focus. And again, all of those things and more, do you like all my special effects here? All of them are contingent on your energy. Let me also be the first to tell you that your energy is not going to be 100% of the time. There is ebbs and flows in everyone's energy. Like, we've been watching the Netflix show called Receiver, and it follows different NFL receivers, like the best of the best. Last year they did quarterbacks. And I've actually, like, over the years been getting way more into sports. I personally love more like the behind the scenes of sports, the business side of sports, the people of sports, more than the actual like physical game. So it's a way that like my husband and I have been able to bond. But we watched it and I loved seeing the behind the scenes of some of these multi-million-dollar earners and the energy that it's requiring of them to be able to physically and mentally be able to be their best. And they had injuries and they needed to rest and recover. They had games where they won. They had games where they lost. They had, you know, days off and they were able to like rest and recharge with their families. And they had days where they were like fully on in, you know, business mode, like football mode, right? So I just want to be the first to tell you, if you're expecting your energy, whether you're a professional athlete, a full-time mom, stay-at-home mom, you know, work from anywhere mom, not a mom, so on and so forth, if you're expecting your energy to be 100% of the time, you're playing the wrong game, because that is so hard to do. Again, even professional multi-million-dollar athletes have ebbs and flows in their energy. The game that I want you to be playing is knowing yourself energetically so fucking well, so well that you know how to play your own game and you know how to win your game. So this is not everyone else's game, because every person is significantly different. You can totally get ideas from other people, but until you get in your own game and understand what helps you win and what helps you lose, it's going to be hard for you to know. So I want to talk about how you can understand this more for yourself and how it can completely change everything for you, like everything for you. I do want to give a special shout out to Kristen Rourke, who is sponsoring this episode. She is the founder and the creator and the brains behind Busy Mom Bod. She has a squat challenge. She has downloadables that you can do. You can get private coaching from her. She's got recipes galore. Like, she is going to help you with your energy management in any way that you need. And it's just a breath of fresh air and just super fun and knows her shit. So check out Busy Mom Bod with Kristen Rourke. You will not be disappointed. So let's talk about this. Especially like this episode, I'm going to be focusing on busy moms, just because that is where I'm at in life, and that's where a lot of people that I support are. But just know, even if you're not a busy mom, then like your energy management is still so important, and you can still get total value from this episode. Please also share this episode with somebody that you know is just feeling a little like all over the place, a little wacky. Okay, so let's dive right in. Like I said earlier, the more that you know yourself, the more you can literally manufacture your energy. So that way, when you need to, you can turn it up. And when you don't need to, or you can't because you're just not there, like the energy's not there, you know what to do to also bring it back up, right? And you can do it very, very quickly. I also want you to think about like Taylor Swift and how many concerts she's doing and how long she's doing each concert. Like there is so much energy management to what she's doing, you know, outside of the fun and beautiful costumes and the dancers and like all the sexy stuff. A big part of it, like I would love to follow her behind the scenes from an energy standpoint. A big part of it is she's got a serious energy management protocol that she knows herself so well after all of these years, and she knows what to do in order for her to be able to perform back-to-back nights, to be able to do so many time zones, to be able to do them so back-to-back, right? Like travel crazy, right? And still be able to like have the love of her life and, you know, just friends and all of the things. So when you see like these big people, like obviously they have bigger budgets than you and I, but it doesn't mean that you are exempt from this narrative. It doesn't mean that you can't have your own version of energy management and mastery in your own way. So there's so much that we can do that is very, very free or very, very affordable. And then you can totally splurge as you go along your journey on certain things that you know are going to really support you. So first and foremost, we get to master the basics of energy management. There's lots of basics. I will name a few, but just know that it's not all of the basics. But we'll go through like the basic of the basics, right? So sleep is critical, right? Your water intake, critical, which I know is not, these things are not always easy for busy moms, but we get to do our very, very best and find ways to make them easier. That has been a big hack for me. Movement, also a basic. This has been something that I have been up-leveling myself because we spend so much time sitting, and I really do love the saying, like, sitting is the new smoking. Not that I love that saying, but it's so true, right? Like, we sit so much. So even if you go get a hardcore workout, if you're not getting 10,000 steps or more a day, it's still very unhealthy. Like movement, constant movement, getting over 10,000 steps in a day and doing it as consistently as you possibly can is going to help be able to prolong your life, right? Like, you know, not everything is in our control of how long we're here, but there is, you know, a lot in our control, okay? So that is huge. Protein, also huge. Most women do not get the level of protein that they need and on a consistent basis. So also a basic that I don't think is talked about enough is who you surround yourself with and what surroundings you are in, right? If you're in a constant, like stressful, chaotic home and or like job, that causes so much harm to the body and therefore like literally drains your energy. Like, have you ever been around somebody that's like just like unhappy all the time or very negative all the time? Like, it's a lot, right? And it drains your energy. Same thing is true on the positive side. If you've got like as organized and clean of a place that you can, you're around happy, positive people. It doesn't mean that they always have to be happy and positive, but like, you know, they're majority of the time they're on that vibe, right? They're on that level. So those are like some of the basics. What I see so many people do is they skip the basics and they're trying to like add all of the extras, and they're trying to do it all at the same time. But if we don't have the basics, like, it's like a house of cards, right? It's just going to like literally timber. So you mastering the basics, which all of the ones that I named, for the most part, are free. You don't have to be perfect. There are some nights where I don't get great sleep because children are being children, but I do my very, very best, right? I do my very, very best. Also, there's been days where I've missed 10,000 steps and then I had to like make it up, but I did my best, right? Like, today my step count has been very, very low, but I'm like, okay, let me go get a walk, right? Let me do what I can to get as close, if not to my goal, as possible. So like, your effort means something. It means so much. Like, even as I'm walking and talking to you, I already feel so much more energized than I did 20 minutes ago. This is how fast it can happen. The more I have removed things from my schedule that don't give me joy, so much happiness, so much energy. If you want more to come in to your life, whether it's more money, more love, more happiness, more joy, more spaciousness, right? More flow, you've got to make room for more to come in. Let that sink in. Like, I'm going to say that again. If you want more in your life, you've got to make room for more. It sounds so basic, but again, like, so many people are not listening to that advice, and then they're frustrated that more is not coming in. And then when I ask them questions about, okay, what does your schedule look like? How are you taking care of yourself, right? When I go through those foundational pieces, I start to really see where the gaps are, and I'm like, just humor yourself, right? Like, humor yourself for 2 weeks, not even 30 days, because that can be hard for a lot of people, and I get it. But humor yourself for 2 weeks. Go get more steps in. Go get more sleep. Like, just pick one, right? Like, go get more water. Don't say yes to things that aren't going to give you joy, right? Like, maybe you work from home a little bit. Maybe you take a little, long weekend. A little long weekend, that was cute. But you know what I mean, right? Your vibe completely changes. Like, vibes are not woo-woo. Vibes are science. When you really step back and think about how everything and everyone is energy, it makes a world of a difference. When you're vibing so high, you're an energetic match for other things that vibe really high and other people that vibe really high to come into your life, because they actually feel so connected. They feel so good. Like, have you ever connected with somebody and you're like, man, I just feel like we're off to a great start? It's because of your energy. Like, yes, as you talk, you may find things that like you resonate with, you relate to, all of those things, but energy introduces you before you even say a word, right? And so when we can just really work on our energy, we can literally manifest so many things and receive them so much faster, and it feels so much better when we're really paying attention to our energy. So before you go on to all the extras, make sure you've checked in and we're doing better with the basics. I don't think there's ever this moment in time, especially as a busy mom, that you're like, I have fully mastered all the basics and I'm perfect at all of them. There's going to be days, like I mentioned, like you're going to get great sleep, then you're not going to get great sleep. The goal is that we average out to be where we want to be, right? Like, you average out on your sleep, you average out on your steps, you average out on like getting enough protein in, right? Like, to me, consistency is not at all about being perfect, and so much about being able to do it more than you're doing it previously and doing it more often, right? Like, we want to increase the odds for success, and so in order to do that, we've got to do it more. Do the things that we know are going to work. And the basics work. They never go out of style, whether it's energy or any other type of basics. I have been a part of big masterminds. We're talking $30,000 masterminds. And guess what? Like, it's unanimous. Yep, go back to the basics, do the basics, then add in the extra trendy strategies and, new ideas and all of the things. So your energy is the same way. Like, the basics work, they never go out of style, and you working them is the key. Like, most things work when we work them. So the basics are key. Then from there, we really want to learn more about you. This is really where I wanted to get in this episode. We need to understand you. And the only way to understand you is to go through an experiment. And it doesn't have to be painful, but we're really going to be curious and pay attention to you. Okay? I like to do 30 to 90 days. You can learn so much about yourself in a 30 to 90 day window when you're being open, when you're being curious, and when you're tracking data. Because in a 30 to 90 day window, you're most likely going to have a challenge. Okay? So we can see how you handle that challenge. You most likely are going to have conflict with somebody other than yourself. Okay? A challenge, I think, is more like internal. It may still involve somebody, but it's so much more us. A conflict, I think, is more outward. They can both obviously be mixed together, but you're most likely going to have a challenge. You're going to have a conflict. You could get sick. If you don't get sick, that's obviously ideal, but your kid would get sick in that time window. You're going to have days where your energy is super high, especially if you're a woman. Hormonally, your energy just naturally goes up and down. And you're going to have days where it's super low and between. So in a 30 to 90 day window, you're going to learn so much about yourself. This has been life-changing for me, right? Like, the basics, yes, absolutely life-changing. And also, this type of experiment, you learn so much about yourself when you're open and curious and tracking things, and then you start to see trends. When we track things, we see trends. And when we see trends, we can really start creating more predictability and ease, flow, and fun for you. So, for example, I've done many of these types of experiments, and in my experiments, I've noticed certain trends. I've noticed the trend of when I'm in back-to-back meetings, I am so anxious because I have no time to breathe. It really puts me in like a fight or flight state. I have no time to breathe, or I should say I have little time to breathe. Even with like a 15-minute window, it's just not enough for my brain to go pee, get a snack, especially now being, a stay-at-home mom. 15 minutes goes really fast. It went fast before children. So when I have way less on my calendar from a business perspective that I have to be on at a certain time, I have noticed in my experiments, I thrive. I get so much done. My mood is so high. I'm so productive. I'm so happy. My anxiety is little to none, which is amazing. And so that is one takeaway from my experiments. Another takeaway is, in this season of life, trying to force myself to wake up super early to work or get a workout in is just not easy. It doesn't feel good. It's not conducive to my lifestyle. So like, if a multi-million-dollar coach was like, "Hey, Nellie, I need you to wake up at 4 a.m. to be successful," I'd be like, "I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me." And this is why I'm very, very careful, or cautious, I should say, of what type of advice I give people, because it's like every person is so different and nothing is cookie cutter. There's lots of ways to be successful. There's lots of ways to gain more energy. There's lots of ways to make tons of money. So I'm just very mindful of not being like, you must wake up at 4 a.m. in order to make the money that you desire, or, fill in the blank. So I'm very, very mindful of like how I come to those types of conversations. This didn't happen. I'm making up this scenario. But like if a coach or a mentor told me that, people pleaser old me would have been like, "Okay, I'll make it happen." And then I would have been in constant stress, constant fight or flight mode, because it's not naturally working for my energy and my lifestyle right now. So there's tons of other ways to be successful no matter what the goal is. So what I have found in this season of life is, a slower wake up time, a slower morning, not a lot on my calendar. I get probably 3 to 5 times more done than trying to do it a way that doesn't work for me, right? And isn't that the whole goal? I don't always love to stay up late, but if I need to, that is so much easier for me. Night workouts are easier for me. And again, that may change in a different season of life, but instead of trying to force things, I'm just paying attention to the trends and allowing the trends to work for me versus them derailing me, right? And so I do love the saying, like, success leaves clues. And so I have started to be able to plug and play certain things in and create some natural habits that totally give me tons of energy and are working with me easily and naturally versus things being forced. Anytime you don't need to force things to happen, it does so well. So like, there's people that can take tons of pills. And I have just noticed anytime that I purchase a bunch of health products that are pill-based, or I have to like make a shake and blend it all up for it to actually taste good, I'm out. Like, and I mean that in the most loving way, but it just doesn't easily work for me. And more than likely, there's always an easier way to still get what you desire. So one day in my experiments, I was like, what if I could drink my supplements? Like, whatever they are, like, could I drink them? And then I started experimenting and playing around with them. And wouldn't you know it, since I already drink so many different types of drinks, being ADHD, it's already a habit of mine to go get a coffee, right? To go get a cup of water, to go get, whatever it may be. And so the habit is already there naturally. So I started adding my supplements to my drinks, making sure that they still taste good. And guess what? I have drank so much less Starbucks, like so much. Like, it's more rare that I get Starbucks than it was a year ago. Like, I was probably getting Starbucks a year ago 4 to 5 times a week, if not more. And like, so not only is that like tons of sugar, it's tons of time, it's tons of money. Like, things do add up. And so, it was huge for me. Like, it really helped me lose a lot of the baby weight, and I just have kept it going because it's helping my energy and I keep stacking it. So like, the next thing to add is collagen, right? I've started weaving in creatine, right? Like, these things that I can just already add to drinks that I'm already drinking is so freaking easy and is yielding so many benefits, rather than forcing myself to take a bunch of pills. And like, I have like a gag reflex when I take pills. So therefore I don't want to take pills because I know I'm going to have that like, choking reflex, or I'm like, ugh, right? And so again, this is the beauty of this type of experiment and playing with it and working with yourself. So that was a huge aha moment that has just yielded so many freaking benefits. It's unreal, like unreal, to the point where now I'm affiliated with these companies because I can't help but talk about them. And so they're making my family money on top of just reaping so many energetic rewards. Like, it's mind-blowing to me, right? Another aha moment of my experiments is the 10,000 steps. So I was trying to force myself to sign up for a workout program. Like, there was a time in my life where I did workout program after workout program. I hired personal trainers. I was at the gym. Like, when I finally started losing weight, that was like my way of working out. And it obviously led to awesome results. But now, being postpartum times 2 and having 2 children on top of a business and, a house to maintain and all the things, I really realized, that feels hard. That feels so hard to even start, let alone like maintain. And if you have ADHD, starting things can be the hardest thing, and also finishing things, which when something never ends, then it's like maintaining it, right? So when things are easy to start and exciting to start, then you want to keep doing them and you want to keep maintaining them. So at the beginning of July, I was just like, I'm going to do a 10,000 a day step challenge. I have been so hyper focused on this challenge that I have joined in, like I've enrolled other people to do this with me just by talking about it. I have paid attention to my step count more than I ever have. I feel so energized by freaking getting more steps in than I ever have before. And truly for me, aside from the energy, knowing that like literally getting 10,000 or more steps in helps increase your lifespan. It reduces certain types of diseases. Like, I'm in, right? Like, I'm in. It's so easy to do. My kids are still seeing me get movement in, even if it's not a hardcore workout. I even a lot of times take them with me. And so this is the power of doing energy experiments and allowing things to be freaking easy. Things get to be easy. I have noticed the more I incorporate easy things that bring me energy, it also regulates and normalizes things being easy for me. Because most women logically know, sure, like why would I make things harder? But I can guarantee you, if I followed you around, not in a creepy way, but if I followed you around in your life and your business for a whole week and had like a little clipboard, I would probably fill that clipboard, like with a piece of paper. I would fill that piece of paper on the clipboard with so many notes of how you're making things harder. Truly. Like if you need to pretend that I'm following you around for a week and be like, oh, Nellie's probably going to write this down. She's going to write this down, right? We make things so much harder than they need to be. So much harder. But we don't feel safe typically. As women, we don't feel safe them being easy. And so the more you can actually regulate yourself around things being easy and normalize it for you, you will self-sabotage so much less. So much less. Like this 10,000 a day step count has been so good for me. It's been so good for my mindset. It's been so good for my energy. It's been so good for my business. It's been so good for my family. It's been so good for my mental health. Like I could go on and on and on. And I've noticed certain things about myself during this experiment. Like this is like an experiment within an experiment because this has been something ongoing. And so although it's been easy, it's not to say that it's been like easy, if that makes any sense at all. Like it is one of the easiest ways to get movement in. However, there's still going to be challenges, right? There's days where it's been storming outside and then I'm like walking around my kitchen. There's been days where my energy has been so low, like yesterday. It was so low from traveling and I was so annoyed at myself because I'm like, I physically do not feel like moving even inside my house. Like I was just so tired. And so I did wave my white flag and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this one slide. And I knew today that I couldn't keep that going, right? And so that was the best decision in that moment with the energy that I had to like go get more sleep versus, walking around my house. But I believe self-sabotage kicks in when we keep doing something that we know is not good for us. Like it's not the best for us is what I should say. Like getting sleep is good for me, but I have a commitment to myself. And so if I kept that going, then that's where like derailing and self-sabotage happens. But like, in my opinion, again, we're not about being perfect here. There's going to be days where you do give yourself a hall pass, right? Like you give yourself a break and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to make my promise to myself to press the reset button, and you have to mean it. Like you have to mean it, which is why I'm literally walking right now, even though my energy is still kind of low. Like I'll most likely be way better tomorrow after another good night of sleep in my bed. But it's not like level 10 Nellie. And that's okay, right? That's okay. But I made a promise to myself that I was like, as soon as I can get Boone to bed, then I'm going to go take some walks. Well, then he obviously was wound for sound, and now he is sleeping. I don't know if you can see him. You see him? Oh, there we go. So I was like, you're going to go with me. Because again, I could have easily been like, oh, well, he's, not getting to bed. I'm just going to skip again. So, one of my very first mentors, Shalene Johnson, she was my inspiration for the 10,000 steps. If you don't follow her on Instagram, I highly recommend. She was my first intro to this whole online space. She has no idea how much she's changed my life. But I do consider her my mentor because I've purchased every single one of her courses. I've gone to her conference. I follow her on social. She's like the one person that I just from a mentor standpoint, I've always followed. I've stayed consistent with just following her. But so she was the inspiration for the 10,000 steps. But equally, she has a rule for herself that she'll never skip 2 days of a workout. And I love that rule, because one day, again, there's going to be days where you have your one day, but then 2 turns into 3, 3 turns into 4, 4 turns into 5, and so on and so forth. So I really do love that rule for just different things. And so that can just be really, really powerful. So going back to experiments, okay? So the 10,000 a day step count was something I noticed because I was like, why am I making this so hard? Steps still are helping me train for a marathon. When I can get more intense workouts in, fantastic. But again, let me get a foundation, then we can get all the sexy frilly things and add those in. So it's always go back to basics within every goal, right? So the 10,000 a day step count is a total basic. Even if you don't pick 10,000, can you do 5,000? Can you do 3,000, right? And one day on vacation, I was looking at my stats from before this month, and they were just rubbish. I was wow, I have, before this month, I never paid attention to my step count, but yet I have all the data at my fingertips, but it wasn't a priority of mine. I wasn't making it a priority of mine. And so when I started seeing all the data, I was shocked, and not mad, but I was just I was literally shocked because I was this is something easy and free that why have I not been paying attention to my steps, right? Are you paying attention to your email open rates as a business owner? Are you paying attention to your daily sales? Are you paying attention to your comments and your views and your click rates? There's so much data at our fingertips, and I understand it can be a lot, but also data is so powerful. Again, if you take one thing away from today's audio, is success leaves clues. But until we are paying attention to the clues, we can't win, right? If you think of the game of Clue, you need to pay attention, right, in order to win. But the clues are freaking there already, whether it's about your money or your health or your relationships or organization. It is so freaking powerful. Success leaves clues, leaves so many clues. And the more you pay attention to it, the more you're going to see things that will help you. It's been mind-blowing to me that as I've been doing the step count, I'm okay, again, I'm not getting enough veggies in. That was another trend that I saw. I get to add a veggie shot, right? A green shot to my daily routine because I know for a fact I am not getting enough nutrients in. And again, that's another basic. And so I've just been really calling myself forward, not from a shame perspective, but from a love perspective. One thing that I even realized, I think it was yesterday, it was within the last 24 hours. I spend so much time, so much money, so much energy on so many people. And rightfully so. Like, I love to do it. Like, every person that's in my life, personally and professionally, it's because I like you. No joke. I don't need to have tons of clients for many reasons. I don't need tons of students for many reasons. I don't need tons of friends, right? Like, for many reasons. If you're a family member and I talk to you, it's because I like you. And so ever since I've had kids, I've been pickier and pickier with all of my time, whether it's personal time or professional time. And so if I am giving you my time, I really like you and I want to be around you, regardless if you're spending money with me or not. Like, I really like you. Like, that should feel really good to you because, like, I mean it. Like, it's important to me to be around people that give me joy, because there's lots of ways to make money. But like, draining my energy is it's not for me. Like, I'm out. And so going back to the reason why I was telling you that was, the more we pay attention to that type of stuff, we really notice what is draining our energy. And so I've just been on a mission to not allow that to happen, because people and places are a big drain to people's energy. And so I have just noticed the more I can protect my energy and be proactive about my energy, it's huge. Like, you can do all the steps in the world, all the green shots, but if you are around negative people, if you're in a overwhelming environment, a negative environment, a toxic environment, it's not going to fix everything the way that we think that it is. So it's like, this is such a holistic, well-rounded type of viewpoint that we get to really pay attention to. And so with that being said, the green shot was a huge one for me, like I mentioned, because I just realized I am not at all getting enough nutrients in. So I started adding that in. And so it has been like mind-blowing for me in so many beautiful ways how significantly different I feel this month versus last month. Like, I've always, as long as I can remember, I've been obsessed with energy. I get compliments about my energy, but it doesn't mean that it's come at a cost, right? Like, when I'm on and I can like crush it, but I just noticed a lot of crashing and burning and self-sabotage, and I just didn't want to feel that anymore. Like, to me, the ultimate form of success is like sustainability, scalability, and most importantly, enjoyable. Like, just enjoying the journey is so important to me, and enjoying it more than I ever have before. And I know that that takes a lot of energy, and sustainable energy, for that matter. So like, how I feel versus like how I feel now versus how I felt at the beginning of summer is banana pants to me. And nothing major has changed. Nothing major has changed. It's been the basics, which is why I can literally look you in the eyes. See, I'm looking you in the eyes. I can look you in the eyes and be like, the basics fucking work when you work them and you do them consistently, and you start to do energy experiments to learn more about yourself, right? Are you a morning person naturally? Are you a night person naturally? When do you have the most energy in a day, in a week? Like, what day of the week do you have the most energy? And therefore also the opposite. When do you have the least amount of energy naturally in a day and in the week? You can also then expand into the month, into the time of year. And so when we can really look at all of this and be really honest with yourself, you can plug and play your ultimate goals with your energy. So, for example, if you have the most energy, let's say at 9 a.m., for the most part, you could plug and play a sales power hour in there. Now, if you work for somebody else and you're on their time, that may look different, but you can get creative, right? Like, maybe you start your day at 10 a.m. for your boss, and you from 9 to 10, you do a sales power hour for your business, right? So there's always loopholes. When your brain immediately goes to, no, I can't do that, I want you to be stubborn and I want you to push back and be like, but what if I could, right? Like, what type of strategy could I implement to see if there's a way, right? So don't take no for an answer when it comes to yourself and your wealthiest self, okay? When you know you're going to have really low energy, whether it's the day of the week or the day of the month, I would never suggest that you create a bunch of reels or take a speaking engagement. Like, yes, sometimes there are going to be moments where you don't have a lot of energy and you've got to muster it up for whatever reason. But there's also a lot of times where we don't need to, and we don't have to force ourselves. Forcing yourself is literally a gateway to self-sabotage, because when things start to not feel good, your brain starts to connect the things that are actually going to help you become your happiest, healthiest, wealthiest self to, we don't like this, so therefore we're going to literally help you avoid all of these things because you're telling us we don't like this. You're telling us that this doesn't feel good. Even if you don't blatantly say it, again, vibes don't lie, energy doesn't lie. And so the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions, the energy around anything and everything is sending messages to your brain that are either reinforcing something or counteracting against something. And so just the more good energy we can put around things, the better. This is why when I'm working with clients, I say, go celebrate, go anchor in this moment, go relish in this moment, savor it, because not only should you celebrate, you get to celebrate, but it's going to send so much positive energy to your brain that your brain's going to be like, oh, we like this. She's telling us that we like this. So therefore we want to do more of this so we can get more of this, right? And so your brain truly isn't trying to self-sabotage. It's not trying to work against you. It only knows what you tell it. And so if we keep telling it that you're broke, that you're unhappy, that you're tired, that, things aren't working for you, that they're slow, that you suck, right? Like anything like that, it is going to counteract what you're trying to do. So again, it doesn't mean that we have to be perfect, but more often than not, you get to quickly reroute the narrative that you're sending to your brain, the energy that you're sending to your brain, all of those things. And so again, I have noticed, going back to basics, I don't even think those thoughts when I am mastering my basics, right? Like when I'm really plugging into the basics and I'm doing them consistently because I'm well fed, I am well rested, right? I am moving my body. So like my body doesn't have even time to think about things like that. I'm just like moving and grooving, right? A body in motion stays in motion type of thing. So all this to say, the more you plug in and get the basics working on autopilot and keep adding in and then doing experiments to really learn more about yourself, you literally can do anything. Like you can do just about anything. Like I have so much belief and confidence in myself more than I ever have because I'm like, I've got this. Like if I can do this, I can do anything because I've got the energy. I know how to get the energy. So even when I don't have it at a moment in time because natural life is happening, whether that be coming back from vacation or there's a kid sick or I'm sick, those things are normal. Those things are absolutely normal, but it doesn't mean that I have to be out of commission for 5 days or 2 weeks, right? Like I've gotten it down to about 24 to 48 hours, depending on what it is. And so we could go into so many more advanced topics on top of that, but like this is enough to get you dangerous and will literally, I'm telling you, if you're looking for the secret, it's right here and it's not that secret. And everything that I talked about is pretty much free. Like, yeah, you can add in supplements, you could join the gym, you could hire, a mentor, buy some courses, whatever it may be, but At the end of the day, you can at least get started for free, if not like super, super affordable, and just keep building and building and building and building and building until you've literally created the reality that you desire. And that's pretty exciting. And everything that you want, literally, everything that you want is built on habits when you really think about it. You want to get really good at saving money? Habits. You want to get really good at paying off debt? Habits. You want to get really good at making money? Habits. You want to lose weight, gain muscle? Habits, habits, habits. You want to find the love of your life? Habits. Ironically enough, you want to up-level your current, intimate relationship? Habits. You want to clean your home, organize your home, declutter your home? Habits, 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 right? Like, so much that you desire, that I desire, the key to success, the secret, is habits. And habits are available to everyone. And you don't have to be perfect to master your habits. You just got to do it more than you're not doing it. Like, I guarantee you, I am healthier these 30 days than I was the last 30 days. For the pure fact of adding in a green shot that literally cost a couple dollars, if that, a day, and moving my body on an average of 10,000 steps a day. Those are like the big changes that I've made that aren't that big, but so, again, like, big. But they didn't take a lot of time or energy. It just took me prioritizing it, tracking it, and really working on maintaining it and making it fun too. Okay. So the thing that I have learned about habits, there's been a lot that I've learned, but the thing that I've learned is making it fun and having accountability, because a lot of times we would have already paid off our debt. We would have already gained the muscle that we wanted or lose the weight if it naturally came to us. So until you have that like momentum, habits can be like accountability, like habit buddies can be so huge for the desires that you have that aren't already like an easy habit for you. And the reason I think is because we don't want to let other people down. Like, we don't want to let other people down. So we can use that to our advantage until it becomes a habit of yours. And then from there, you could either, continue having accountability buddies, or you're good, right? And you keep moving forward. Like, think about it this way. When you brush your teeth, you don't have to have necessarily an accountability buddy to brush your teeth. But at one point in your life, someone was literally encouraging you to brush your teeth because it wasn't a habit. And so that person that kept nudging you and kept nudging you and kept nudging you helped make it happen, but then you kept it going. So like, this is just such a easy, simple thing that we can do for anything that we desire, big and small, is breaking it down to bite-sized habits, making it fun, and infusing accountability. So more on that later, but I want you, I love making these sessions very actionable for you. And so I want you for the next 14 to 30 days, pick one habit. Just give me one, whether it's 10,000 steps a day, a green shot, a certain amount of sleep, per night, a certain amount of water, something for you that is going to help you. Okay. I don't think I finished a thought earlier that I had. And now that I'm on the same road that I was like, I don't think I finished that thought. So let's end with that thought, because I think I got sidetracked and I didn't finish this thought. Okay. So let's wrap it back up. So if there was a part in this episode that you're like, she didn't finish that thought, hopefully this is it, because it just came to me. So you spend so much time and money on other people, so much time and money on other people. I can guarantee you, truly, if you were to prioritize yourself and give yourself that amount of time, that amount of money, that amount of energy that you're giving so many other people, whether it's clients, your employer, your kids, your husband, significant other, boyfriend, friends, etc. Prioritize you. mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. Like, just humor yourself and do that for 30 days with one of these habits that I've mentioned, or one that you think of, because you're giving so much to other people. And one of my mentors said recently, it's so much easier to pour from a full cup than an empty or almost empty cup. And it's so true, right? It's so true. And I think that that has been the biggest thing for me, is like, the 10,000 steps or the green shot doesn't really affect anyone else but me. And so it is so easy to not buy the green shot, or it is so easy to be like, I'm not going to do 10,000 steps a day. Like, I don't have the time. There's so many other things going on, whatever it may be, right? Like, it's easy for our brains to go there, right? So I'm getting sweaty. So the thought earlier was, what if you prioritize yourself the way you're prioritizing other people? And it doesn't mean that they aren't important, but when you move yourself up on the list, you actually create more energy for the other people. And therefore, I also think you create more money and time for other people that you love. So really, it's like not selfish at all, because you prioritizing you is going to allow you to support other people more than you ever have supported them before. And so that was like the aha moment, the thought that I don't think I finished earlier, that I think is just so powerful. And that was like the intuitive message that came to me in the last like 24 hours. And I think has been the biggest game changer for me in the last month, because I am noticing gaps energetically and filling them for myself, of where like maybe I had lots of success before, but then again, like I mentioned, I crashed and burned, and then that takes way more energy to like get the train going again, right? And so the more I've prioritized myself financially, energetically, emotionally, etc., on top of everyone else that I love, it's just changed everything for me. So, am I at the top of the list every single day at the beginning of the day? No. But am I closer to the top? Yes. Or like some days I am at the top, just depending on the day and what's going on, right? But just getting you higher up on the list, the priority list, is going to change everything for you. I also think that this just like explodes your confidence and your trust in yourself, because you're literally like, let's just stop and think about this for a second. When you move yourself higher up on the list, just hear me out for a second. When you move yourself higher up on the list, you're literally internally, like subconsciously telling yourself, you matter so much. Like, I get emotional even just like thinking about this thought. You matter so much. I'm proactively moving you higher up on the list. And that literally creates so much trust, so much confidence, so much belief in yourself on every level and every aspect of your life and your business, that is so priceless. Like, when you really think about it, you'll trust yourself to make big and small decisions. You'll trust yourself to speak up for yourself. You'll trust yourself to launch that business or launch that offer or increase your prices or whatever it may be. When we create true, authentic trust, everything changes. And this is one of the ways that I know how to do it. And when you trust yourself, other people are going to trust you more, which is only going to lead to more happiness, more money, more joy, more success, more ease, right? It's just like, my mind is like going crazy with like fireworks right now, because it's so true. Like, it's so true. When you trust yourself, everything changes. And I don't believe you're on this audio, this amazing episode that Kristen Rourke is sponsoring with Busy Mod Bod. You're not listening to this part unless you needed to hear that message, because this is a longer episode. So if you're still listening, I'm gonna guess you needed to hear that message. I need to hear that message. Because when you trust yourself, literally you can create anything. You can create anything. Because think about it this way. If it wasn't you, like say there's a relationship in your life that's at the bottom of the list. And you keep saying, yeah, you're important. Yeah, you're important, right? But you're not prioritizing time with them. You don't wish them happy birthday. You don't check in on them when they're sick, or just say, hey, I hope you have a great day. Like we can't do that for everyone, right? But if we keep telling this made up person that they're important, but we're not showing it with our actions, do you think that relationship is going to be that strong? Do you think that person's going to trust you, that you're going to trust them? Like, do you even know that person? No. So now replace that made up character with yourself. The more you keep putting yourself at the bottom of the list, right, consistently, which is a habit, by the way, which I've done and doesn't feel great, you lose yourself. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you want. You don't have a relationship with yourself. So of course you don't trust yourself, right? Like, and you probably trust yourself on some level, but like, this is when you get sick more. This is when you have more negative thoughts. You have very low self-esteem, self-confidence, belief in yourself, because you don't know yourself. It's like that estranged, made-up character. Like, of course. So the thing about energy is that when you move yourself towards the top of the list in a beautiful, positive way, you're kind of, I don't love the word forced, but you're kind of forced to pay attention to yourself more, right? Which can be a little overwhelming to people, right? Like, I have learned a lot about myself just doing the 10,000 steps. And so it's like, it does, create some friction, but then that friction has turned into so many amazing ideas, so much energy, so much happiness, so much connection. It's huge. And I'm going to show you, like, look at that sky. The camera doesn't even do it justice. It's so pretty. It looks pink and purple, which is wealthy mama colors. So the more you prioritize yourself on every level, it's going to change everything for you. Everything. I am a significantly different person than I was a year ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, and it's all built on what I'm talking about, right? Like, there's so much more, but like, this is the foundation of the foundation, and it is just so critical, and I never want to lose sight of all of this, which is why I'm talking about it, because I need to hear it too, right? Like, I'm in this conversation with you. I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you. So wrapping it all up, wonder what step count I'm at now. Wrapping it all up, I want you to pick one thing, just one thing, whether it's water, protein, habits, sleep, steps, whatever it is. It can't be a business habit though. Like, yes, that's important, and I want you to pick one of those, but this is the one. I want you to pick something personal first, okay? Something personal first. Give yourself 14 days, 30 days. Do it more than you've done it before. Make it fun. Grab an accountability buddy. Feel free to tell me so I can cheer you on, but it'll change everything. It will change everything so fast. On day 1 of the step count challenge that I literally made up on July 1st for myself, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I just trusted myself to do it. But on day 1, I was already having breakthroughs. I was already creating more energy. So this is how fast it can go and how free it can be. It can be free to do it, and it can be so freeing, which is huge. So share a takeaway with me. Share this episode with a friend. Thank you, Kristen, with Busy Mom Bod. Let me know which habit you're going to focus on just for the next 14 to 30 days. And I can't wait to hear all the breakthroughs for you. They're coming. They're already on their way to you. You just got to get started.